I don't think we're disclosing details of the relocation fee publicly. Material may get out from that. It's an in-house matter.
Hey, Eric, can you help me clear up something? Larry Gallegos, how you doing? Larry Gallegos is a good friend of mine in economic development in Oakland. He told me that in 2015, you or someone in the NFL approached as a developer, wanting to be a developer, but his claim was that the Oakland system is to test, as a developer, but the money wasn't produced. Can you shed some light on that? That's what he told me over the phone, so I always wanted to clear that up and see what the issue was.
I don't know that gentleman, and the name doesn't ring a bell. In October 2015, I attended a meeting with two representatives of Alameda County, the mayor, Mark Davis, Mark Bedane, Dan Ventrelli, several members of the executive staff. And at that meeting, this was during the LA process, it was the day of the Oakland hearing. At that meeting, I said to the mayor and the county, if you will make the land available at a nominal cost and all of the development rights available, then the league will do its best to try to come up with a proposal. You've indicated there would be no public funding for construction, so we would do it on the basis of nominal cost for the land and the full development rights. And she indicated at the time they couldn't sell the land, but could accommodate a long-term lease. I said,
that mistake you and I talked about.
$1 a year for 50 years or 100 years, and the development rights. And if you do that, and we are able to put a proposal together, then you have to be willing to use the lease termination right so that the site can be cleared. And the county indicated no interest in the land arrangement, no support of that, and the mayor has consistently indicated an unwillingness to use the lease arrangement. And as regards the full development rights, as you know, they've made their own arrangement with the third party. So that's long-winded, but that is the history, and I can't give you any frame of reference on what the gentleman is asserting. We were never asked to provide financial details.
How do you, just a question of why these stadiums can't be built by the teams on their own? Why, as people call it corporate welfare, why couldn't the Raiders have just developed this on their own? Why they need money from the city?
I think I just answered that question, that when the mayor, who began to exhibit significant leadership in a very positive way once she took office, laid that down as an essential negotiating principle that she would not support, and she didn't believe her constituents would support public funding. We accepted that challenge, and partially because we were already undertaking that challenge in another California market. Not all markets can provide public funding. There are other forms of public participation, public support. They range from smoothing the approval process to smoothing the legislative process of various permits, and those sorts of things have to get done. Public-private partnerships are very important, and every community can provide one. It doesn't necessarily have to be public funding. I've long said, we don't tell anybody what to do with their funds or their tax money. They have to decide. If they decide they're in favor of it, we'll work within that. If they decide they're not, we'll do our best to work within that framework.
Eric, there were initial concerns in the league about the local fan base in Las Vegas. Could that support it, and sort of how Las Vegas has historically responded to economic downturns and bouncing back? Can you describe the process of the league getting comfortable with the notion of Las Vegas?
Sam, the league employed the same outside consultant that we used in the LA process. That consultant was responsible to assess not only LA, but the three incumbent markets, and we employed the same consultant to do the same kind of analysis with respect to Las Vegas. Without going into a lot of detail, the analysis is based on largely government and other economic statistics that are publicly available. And I'll just summarize it by saying the existing size of Las Vegas, the diversification and the growth that it has undergone over the last 20 years, combined to make it a mid-sized market today, but one that is exhibiting significantly above average growth. And those prospects, or those things in combination, its current size with its above average growth, combined to give the rest of the ownership confidence.
Was it an implant
Are there
model?
any contingencies to this vote? There's still a lease that needs to be agreed upon, and land and a site that needs to be finalized.
Vincent, there are always contingencies in things of this nature. When they loom large in the minds of members, that the risk is high, that impacts them, and by virtue of the vote, I think it is fair to say that the 31 owners who voted in favor of it do not believe that those pose a major risk.
Eric, was that an implant model that was used, or?
The stadium is proposed to be ready for the 2020 season.
Eric, who is guaranteeing the Bank of America loan?
The nature of the Bank of America loan is very similar to other loans of this nature for new stadiums, whether or not it depends on relocation. What I mean by that is that the bank commits to a construction loan. The construction loan provides for the amount of money that would be necessary during the time and before PSLs are sold or naming rights or any of that sort of thing for the funds to flow to build the stadium. During that time, as various revenues that can be achieved up front come in, that loan is either reduced or less than the commitment is drawn. When the dust settles, the loan will be secured by the team, and the various revenues associated with it will go to go and pay back the loan.
I need to ask a follow-up. Does that mean the team is putting up equity?
Well, putting up equity has different meanings to different people. When these loans are made, the team is responsible for paying them back, and that requires a waiver of NFL rules. Waivers are customary so long as you meet certain financial tests and are routinely granted whether or not relocation is done. So any large stadium project typically produces the request for a waiver, and it is typically granted.
That's the debt waiver.
Yes, sir.
Eric, there's a report that,
Can I get someone else who hasn't
Sure,
gone, please?
sure.
Eric, three teams moving in 18 months, what message does that send to maybe teams that have older, outdated stadiums like the Bills and teams of that nature?
This is not intended to send a message to any other team. Every community, every situation is different. We work hard, and the teams work hard to produce as healthy a franchise and as healthy a financial picture and as healthy a stadium picture as possible. And every stadium is different, so I don't believe that this certainly is not intended to send any message, and I don't believe anyone should take any message in.
On the topic of Buffalo, what challenges does that market present in terms of building a new stadium?
Buffalo's fans are legendary and rank right up there with the greatest fans in the NFL. Ownership there is evaluating their options, and those options are very long-term in nature. I don't want to speak for them, but I think you can see by virtue of the fact that they're not waiting and have done work on the stadium already, that they care about their fans and they care about Buffalo.
Eric, you said you don't
Okay.
tell.
How you doing?
You don't tell people or cities how to spend their money, but cities keep offering it. Would it be imprudent of the NFL to not accept those public subsidies?
That's a matter for ownership. It's a policy issue. It's not for me to.
Eric, may I have a technical question of you all? The $750 million subsidy was based on a debt coverage ratio of 1.5 to 1. Normally it's 2. And when I ran the numbers and Las Vegas politicians were sharing it, they both agreed that it was a rather significant risk. Did that come up in the meeting or the analysis?
I'm not prepared to talk about the analysis that was presented on specific terms. It met all the financial tests typical of the NFL staff and ownership policies.
Okay, one